You remember that clip from The Office of Andy about the good times? That's how nostalgia works. I keep seeing posts from like nostalgia bait Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, whatever, about things that more or less still exist. Like an example I just saw on Twitter that I was talking about was a post talking about the fish tanks at Walmart. And while a lot of Walmarts may have gotten rid of them, a lot of other stores still have the exact same thing with the similar style store to Walmart. Like if you're in the Midwest-ish of the U.S., there's a store chain called Meijer that is basically like Walmart but not as crappy and has the fish tanks. And I've seen a bunch of other stores that have the fish tanks. And like this is a thing you can be nostalgic for, but also can very much still go see. Another one I see all the time is like talking about the like morning birds and the owls and stuff you can hear in the mornings. And it was really confusing. That's on TikTok. It's all over TikTok. It's now like a really popular sound, and people will be in the comments of those videos and just be like, I started crying when I heard those sounds and whatever. If you just like pay attention to what's around you, the birds didn't go away. They're still there. I hear them all the time when I'm outside. It's gotten to the point where I have this like 3D microphone array thing that I'm considering just like setting up outside, wait until there's no cars and just recording them, because in the springtime, at least, it's a pretty normal sound. Like I hear it for hours and hours every day. The problem is not that things have changed for a lot of people. There's plenty of things to be nostalgic about that don't exist, nuance and everything. But for a lot of things that people get nostalgic for, it's because as you get older, as you get busier, have more responsibilities, more stress, more bad things that have happened to you, you spend less time absorbing your surroundings. When you're a kid, when you're, a newbie, you're still experiencing so much of the world for the first time, and you're processing it all through your first 10, 20 years. You're hearing it all over and over for the first time and really processing it, and then you start blocking it out. And when you stop like allowing yourself to just kind of sit and pay attention to what's around you, you start to get nostalgic for things that are still completely accessible to you. And I think it's kind of harmful. Like, I love nostalgia, obviously. Like, what channel is this? Lost Saves. Like, nostalgia is not something I shy away from. But I think people are so quick to assign it to basic things, ignoring the fact that it's not the thing itself that they're nostalgic for, but it's the feelings that they felt in certain moments for it. And then they start acting like that thing goes away. And I realize like that separation of you're actually nostalgic for the feeling and not the thing is important, but at the same time, you can a little bit more easily kind of revive that feeling by just allowing yourself to experience it. Like, find a day on a weekend or on a day you don't have work or whatever. Get up a little early. Get up when you used to get up for school, but allow yourself to just kind of relax. Open a window or go sit on your porch or something and just take in your surroundings. Listen for the birds. If you don't have a lot of trees, I guess go find a neighborhood or a park with a bunch of trees. Listen to the animals. Go exploring some stores and try to look at it from the perspective of a kid again. Take what you missed, take that perspective, that innocence, and go try to look at the world through that lens again. Go find your favorite childhood store that's still open. Pretend you're small. And just take it in fresh. Pay attention to the little things. What would you have looked at? What would have mattered to you or stuck out to you as a kid? You don't have to buy anything. Don't get stressed out about money. Just focus on the enjoyment of taking it in. I bet a lot would be unlocked. And that it's really hard because I feel like a lot of people get so obsessed over certain kinds of nostalgia that genuinely just make them sad. Like like I think of the couple that constantly looks at their wedding album and talks about how great they used to look and how happy they used to be or whatever. And I'm like, how about you spend less time looking at that and more time making yourselves happy in your relationship now? And the same thing with this kind of thing, where if you're someone who left a comment thinking about how sad you were to hear the birds again in the morning and the owls and all that stuff, why don't you allow yourself some time to just kind of be in your own head or experiencing the world when those things are happening? Not only will you more closely and like intimately engage with those feelings that the nostalgia is bringing out with you, which could be healthier for either moving past them or just really experiencing them again, but you can also just find more peace for yourself. It's the same thing with like, if you are really, really happy with modern, or unhappy rather, if you're really, really unhappy with modern games and you don't like what the newest entries in your franchise are doing or whatever, there isn't anything wrong with just playing the older stuff. There's so many older games that you've never played that you could spend your entire life chasing them down and you'll never run out. Like, you don't have to play the new stuff just because that's what the Twitch streamers are playing or whatever. Like, you can always choose to engage with something the way you used to. One last little bit, something that really got me thinking about this in kind of a weird way is my kiddo has been super into photography lately. He's 4. I've gotten him a couple, you know, one of those cheapo digital cameras. And there was something nostalgic about the pictures that he was taking, and it was really confusing because it was all our current house and our stuff and everything. And it's not the faux digicam look because it doesn't look anything like real digicams, and I have plenty of those. Like, I'm happy to engage with that idea and that hobby, that passion, that feeling, but I'm going to do it legit because there's plenty of them for cheap on eBay. Like, I'd rather not buy E-Ways, but I bought these specifically so he can break them and I not stress out about them. It's not the look, it's not any of that, it's the fact that they're taken from someone who's like 2 to 3 feet tall. It's seeing everything in our house, everything that we're doing from that lowered perspective and that quick, like frantic, like I get to see what matters to him, which is completely different than the things that matter to me now that I would take pictures of now. And I get to see them literally from his angle. And that just opened my eyes for so much because it's literally looking at them from a different perspective, his lowered, younger perspective that I just don't normally see. You can still do that. Now, I'm not suggesting you go to your favorite Walmart and get on your hands and knees and start walking around like a child, but you can engage with it similarly. Let me know what you think. This has been Liminal Musings here on Lost Saves. I'm Addy. Remember to be kind. Rewind.